Morning, everybody. 8:05 a.m. Welcome to my channel. This market's rebounding pretty nicely this morning, specifically semis and memory stocks. I guess people thought that was a buying opportunity yesterday. The QQQ did break this 705 support yesterday, but then it recovered. That's pretty bullish that it did that. But this market's still nuts. A lot of dispersion. So that's really the story. Middle East tensions. I guess the markets are not as fearful about that. As I said yesterday, that they probably wouldn't be. And of course, yesterday we had a lot of strength in tech. And when the market has that much strength, it's very hard for the market to go down. The market did take a turn lower, however, then recovered. Little thing about a trade that I had yesterday, very frustrating. I was stalking a short, waited, got a signal, and then short it. Okay. However, when it was happening, Trump said something about negative about Iran, and then the market started falling. I think I was up 6, 7 points maybe on my short, and I was like, all right, this should move lower now. And then he said, I don't think this is going to make the war longer or something like that. Saw a jump in price, and I was like, what is this? I heard him say that, and then I had a decision to make. Do I go to break even? Do I cut the trade? And before I could even, if I didn't act right off the bat, it knocked my stop. Which I know, if that the algos didn't kick in for the negative news and the positive news that he said, that trade would have worked. It was ready to fall, and that sucks. Okay, I'd have been in trades before where I held through news like that, and it still worked out. So I guess I took that risk. But that just sucks when you have a trade working and then news comes out, right? So just annoying. But that's trading, right? What are you going to do? Um, Welcome to my channel. My name is Steve Gonzalez. Use market profile, bond profile to find structure in the markets, along with supply and demand, gamma exposure levels, the most traded price of the year, the month, the week, and the previous data as my edge. Just want to come up with my game plans. Now, once that market opens up, using the market internals, I want to see where money flows are going off the open. Okay, along with anchor VWAPs, ICT, a little ICT, and weekly expected move indicator giveaway for free for Thinkorswim on my Discord, as well as gamma flip points. Now, yesterday we did go into negative gamma in SPY below 742. Okay, and SPX, I'll show you the gamma levels in a little sec. 7420 was the monthly gamma flip point in SPX that held as well. Okay, so the volatility ramped up, and then we went back into positive gamma. So, but all that wrapped into one. That's my own proprietary trading system. Now, hopefully you join me every day, every morning. Subscribe to that alert. Give you market news, the economic calendar, technical analysis, and always give you the long and short trade scenarios in the NASDAQ and ES futures later on in the stream. If you want more in-depth coverage, you're going to join my Discord. That's Confluence Trading. Go to my YouTube homepage, click on the link, and sign up. What are you waiting for? Let me be your indicator. Now let's get right into futures watch list here. Silver is your leader, up 1.80%. Gold up 1%. Nasdaq's up 0.86. Bitcoin's up 0.82. Crude is up 0.5%. Russell is up 0.33. ES up 0.26. 10-year yield slightly up 0.11. Ethereum flat. Dow flat. Dollar flat. 30-year bonds slightly being sold, and the VIX is down 0.71 out of 16.78 VIX. Let's look at the Mag 7 Plus here. Micron up almost 6%. It's ridiculous, crazy. Back over $1,000. I guess that was the dip. Intel up 5%. Broadcom up 3.76, where they made a new deal with Apple. AMD up 3.30. Caterpillar up 2.31. Okay. Nvidia had a nice day yesterday, up 0.85. Now, who's lagging today? Now, software is getting hit today. Let's see, Google almost down 1%. So this is a mixed market again. It's just a crazy market. Amazon down 1%. Netflix down 1.31%. Microsoft down 1.73%. Meta down 3.24%. So do you see what I mean? Semis are up. Software, communications, discretionary down. It's just a crazy market. Okay. Top sector stock list. Qualcomm, a semi, up 3.5%. GE Vernova, data center build out, right? Provide utility, energy. Now, Oracle is up 1%. Miners up 0.75, right? Now, who is lagging? Costco down 1.64. PepsiCo down 1.90. Palantir Software down 2.36. Salesforce down 4.25. Now, I saw something about Starbucks replacing Salesforce or something. So they won't need them. We'll get into that later if I get more color on that. All right. That's what I saw. Let's go to sectors. Now, semis are up 3.20%. Amazing. Okay. Really amazing here. Technology up 1.5%. Right. Who's down today? Energy, communications. Communications getting hit with Netflix, Google, and Meta. Netflix, Google, and Meta. Now, Meta did hit its weekly expected move this week, 623.21s. It hit it, so it doesn't have much room to go up. Okay, Broadcom hit its expected move yesterday. I'm trying to see here if anybody else hit expected moves. I don't see right now anybody else. All right, let's move on. Economic calendar now. We have initial jobs claims at 8:30. Fed Williams speaking at 9. 10 a.m. existing home sales. That 60 home sales doesn't really move markets much. Okay, it really doesn't. Um, let's look at Trump's schedule. I don't really see anything right now, but you never know with him. You really don't. Now, U.S. futures mix with Mideast hostilities, chip stocks rebound. So that's what's really going on right now. Okay, maybe there's some other news headline, and I want to show you that Starbucks right here. So see how software stocks slide as Starbucks builds AI tools to replace vendor software. So see, IBM, ServiceNow, Salesforce shares are down pre-market trading Thursday after the report that Starbucks is developing an in-house software using artificial intelligence that could replace applications and currently buys from outside vendors. Not good for software again. Okay, that's why software is down. I want to show you guys that. Okay. In the juice, stock climbed as oil fluctuated, with investors betting tensions between U.S. and Iran will remain contained, while chip makers rallied across regions. Okay. Now let's see if this is updated. If it's not, it's not. Nope, old news. Okay. Quick look on my dispersion chart here. Yeah, all-time highs again yesterday. Like I said, in the past, anytime you had extreme readings, it marked a market top or sideways, right? So I'm watching this like a hawk, but I'm just not going to short because we're all the way up here. Okay. So that's what I'm seeing there. Now, let's look at some breadth readings here. How did breadth shape yesterday? 20-day moving average dropped. Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. 57% now, only above their 20. That was a significant drop yesterday. 50-day, 63%. Okay. Now, bullish percent. Let's look at the S&P. Dropped to 59% on buy signals. Okay. Now, NDX, I'm sure it dropped and recovered yesterday. Let's see. Yeah. So, pushed up, dropped down to a low, but then it kind of held, right? 47%, kind of middling. And we'll just end it with tech. Yeah, it's right in the middle. Basically 50% stocks on buy signal. So market's very middling. The only thing I see overheated is healthcare. Still, just look at that, 83% on buy signals. This is a very frothy number. Okay, and who else is financials? I believe has been over, yeah, 82, 83% on buy signals. Now they have um, earnings run up coming, so I'm staying away from that a little bit. Okay, but the healthcare I have on watch. I really do have that on watch. Okay, we're gonna move on to market internals now, and you'll see what I'm talking about in here. The market internals recap. Okay, so yesterday everything was red except tech was up 2.21% from the open. Markets are just not going to go down when tech is up that much. It just can't. Even when this market ripped up. Now, even in here, tech was up, right? And I was like, wow, tech's up, right? Tech barely came negative down here. And then it was just the rest of the market followed a little bit. But you could see equal weight here was just weak. Hence why the breadth numbers were weaker. Okay. So now the gamma flip point for the month in SPX yesterday was 74.20. That held the SPX. Okay. And you can see the gamma levels here on my charts here that I give away for free. 742 was a monthly gamma flip point in SPY. Once you cut through that negative gamma, but then once you rip back above it, you can really push higher, and that's what we did. The weekly gamma flip point was 705 in Qs. Once we came back above that, and these light blue is the 0 TTE gamma flip point, so it was off to the races yesterday. But every day, pretty much every day, either tech is red and the rest of the market's green, or tech is green and the rest of the market. It's always mixed. That's why this market is a weird. It's a real weird one. And you barcode a lot. Like it's just like barcode, 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 barcode. And it's just not the easiest. I'm sitting here going, wow, I am not liking a lot of what I'm seeing. Okay. I'm just not liking it. Like I know probability wise what could happen. And I'm just like, all right. That's why when my short came, I waited and it was working. That's what stinks. And then negative news helped my trade, and then positive news stopped me on my trade. Even though without that negative positive news, the market would have fell. It would have not stayed. It would have fell down. Technically, it would have fell. It was ready to just at least go back down a little bit, right? So let's go to daily charts now. So let's look at those together. So here's the SPY, all right? Remember, we get into this daily supply zone. And yesterday, look what we did. Hit the 50-day moving average, bounced. And where did we close? Right above last week's close. So we're still positive for the week. Okay. Where are we now? 747.34. 747.34. Gapping up. We're gapping up today. It's can't make this up. It's a wacky market. And we're not going anywhere. Look at this. Not going anywhere. Stock pickers market. Okay. Now let's look at futures. Futures. Remember I said, look, daily supply, not going to be easy, right? That's yesterday. 50-day moving average, 20-day moving average. Now, do we go up to here now today, the 7,600 area? I think there's a good possibility. But we're just in this mess, okay? It's not, we're in a wedge, okay? And the SPY has something wrong with its one candle, because look at the SPX, okay? We're just in this wedge compressing, and we're going to make a big move. This is just like a big, big balance area, and we're going to either go up or down and have a nice move. Okay, let's look at the cues. Now, I said this ad nauseum yesterday when I was live. I'm like, 705 is a key support level. This is a daily demand zone, and I said, very, very powerful. It's very hard for me to be like, I am short in this thing. 2 weekly lows. Look what we did. We saved the 2 weekly prior lows, swept those, and came right back to where the 50-day moving average. But now, market came right up to last week's close. And where are we now? 1770s. We are all the way back here. That, my friends, is pretty bullish. Okay, you came and swept all of those lows. And now you're back in the middle of garbage. So, unbelievable. Okay, it really is unbelievable. So let's look at the futures now. Now, 297s are the most traded price of the month, the rolling month, in your NASDAQ. That's where we are right now. That's not a surprise to me. Okay, that's not a surprise to me. But look at that candle. That, my friends, just took out all of these sessions. And now you're back up. I think we're looking at 30,000 possibly today. That's a big manipulation, a candle here. That is probably signaled. That's it, shorties. I don't know. All right. I don't know, but that's pretty significant. You're back over to 50-day moving average now. To go back and take that out, you'd have to have some negative news most likely. Okay. Let's go to the hourly charts. All right. Let's go to those hourly charts now. All right. So this is your ES. Let me get my marker out. Just give me one sec. So both markets are at their most traded prices of the month. That's not a surprise. That is not a surprise. Okay. Now, really interesting yesterday, you did not take out your overnight high or overnight low. You did not take out your overnight high or your overnight low. That usually never happens. That only happens in like 2%, 3% of all sessions, and it happened yesterday. Okay. In both NASDAQ and ES. Very odd. Now, this level might have to get tested at one point again. Okay. 74.70s, around that area. Now, look at this move. That one candle got taken all back, and now you're at the 75.45s, the most traded price of the month. Is the next destination back to the 7600s? I don't know. All what I do know is there's heavy, heavy overhead supply. Okay? There's heavy overhead supply. And we need to work that off. Now, if you do something like this, take out that supply, hit the most traded price of the week, right? The 76, 75, 65s around. That could be the long. Okay. I just don't think no move is easy. I really don't. Okay, so it's really all about this 75.45 most traded price of the month. Acceptance above it is bullish, acceptance below it is bearish. It's the only thing you can do. Okay. Now, as far as the NASDAQ does have a nice little channel going on here. See this channel? Like when I draw stuff, I only draw it when there's multiple touches. So look at this channel, just getting honored. Boom, boom. And then look at that. 1, 2, 3 touches. Do we break out of that channel or do we go back down? I don't know. Okay. But what I do know is 297 is the most traded price of the month. That's the most agreed upon price over the last month. That is significant. Okay. The most longs and shorts are here. Same thing. Acceptance over this level is bullish. Acceptance below the level is bearish. That's it. Okay. Now, there can be games played where it looks like, oh, we are accepting, and then it cuts through it. Obviously, nothing's ever easy. Nothing's ever cookie cutter. Okay. Do we break out of this channel? There's a lot of overhead supply as well. Now, you do have some poor structure up here that we can start to rip through because people are buying this dip. Okay. Micron, SanDisks. Okay. And NVIDIA came to life yesterday. Let's move on. And now we're going to get into market profile, volume profile. Part of the analysis here. Okay. Market profile, volume profile. Let's do it. Okay. So we're gapping up. Amazing. Amazing. We're gapping up. Yesterday we were gapping down. The market just is nuts. Okay. Now we're going to get right into scenarios here with the ES. All right. First thing, what do we do? Well, break out the session. This is 30-minute bars. Okay. Now we are gapping up. So when we are gapping up, you got to mark off gap fill. 75.36 is yesterday's highs, which has a poor high. Okay. That's significant. Now the next significant level here is the 75.25s, which is yesterday's most traded price. That lines up with the close and swing low, like support. So watch that level as well. If you're a bull, you do not want to lose the 75.25s. Okay. A lot of overhead supply, and we are in ultimate balance. Ultimate balance spans from 75.45s to about 75.65s. This is a very highly concentrated area of volume. It's not a place that I really want to do business in. I'm not excited about it. Okay. It can be very choppy in there. So how I have to look at that is in this area, you want to do business here or here. In here could get real messy. Okay. It's very crowded there. All right. Now, of course, we have this confluence low, the 74, 70 area down here. That was held yesterday, but that definitely looks like a level that if we get weak, that's going to get hit. Okay. Now, let's get right into scenarios now. Okay. We are going to start. Doesn't really matter where we start here. Let's go with it long. Okay. This right now, probably not the easiest trade right now. Okay. It's not. And we're in ultimate balance. It doesn't make it easy at all. Okay, really just I'm looking at it long right here, and I'm just like, man, oh man, it's not easy here. Okay, so a couple things can happen here. Now, like I said, this area now in the early volume, you could move through this chop zone. I'm not saying you can't, but if we're later on in the day, this gets become choppy. So if you get one of these moves, you push up over the 75 70s. Okay. Take out that bearish value gap and you hold this the 75 70s. Okay. There you can go long because now you took out some supply and you know that, we can move up possibly to the 7600s. That's one. Now, off the open, remember what I said. If the market was to push lower quickly, okay, you test the 75.25s. Remember, that's a support area. There's a demand zone there. Yesterday's close, most traded price of yesterday, and it holds. Now, I say this has to happen early with the volume so you can really, really, really try to take advantage of it. You hold the 725s. You push for those overnight lows, 75.58s, and try to get the 75.70s. Okay. Now, again, if you do get a quicker pullback, let's say you take out the 75.25s, you're like, oh boy, and this is real quick, but you have a bullish fair value gap here. That is spans from 75.14s to 74.95s. Okay. This has to be quick. This has to be quick. So if you take out the 75.08s, that overnight low, but you're in the middle of this bearish value gap, bullish value gap, I'm sorry, and you get support in here, that is bullish. This is bullish. So you look to get that higher low. Okay. Then you target the 74.45s. That would be a nice trade on itself. Overnight highs, 75.58s, and then the most traded price of the week, 75.70s. Okay. Now, shorts. There's a lot of overhead supply. So what I'm going to look for here is rejections of the 75.45. So stuff can happen up here. We can push up. Boom. Hit the prior day's overnight highs, 75.63s, reject. And I want to come through here and retest the 75.45s. And if I see this market is not, tech is getting outflows, that's when I'll short the 75.45s. Look to take out the 75.25s. And then you have that poor structure down here. And you can really get cooking if this market turns. All right. Go through 7,500. Target the 75, 74, 69, 68 area where those two equal lows are. Boy, oh boy. What if we take that out? What if we take that out? Now, conservatively, let's say, oh man, Steve said this is ultimate balance. I don't know. We can get chopped up there. Well, just look for some acceptance below the 75.25s. Let's say we're hanging out here, hanging out here, hanging out here. We retest that 75.25s. And let's say, like I said, tech has to have outflows for me to be a little more confident in this. Then you can short and try to target yesterday's low, 74.69s. Okay. That's the ES. All right. NASDAQ time. Here we go. Whoa, look at that gap. Jeez Louise. This markets are crazy. These markets are nuts. All right, these markets are nuts. Now, again, let's get right into the scenarios of the NASDAQ. Of course, of course, we have to talk about the gap and levels, right? So, first thing we're going to do, I don't know if I just put that up. I don't remember. NASDAQ long short trade scenarios coming up. All right. First, we do levels. All right. Gap. Overnight uh, overnight sessions, 50% retracements, 29564. And the gap fill is 295. We are not by those levels right now. Okay. Other level, the 297, the most traded price of the month. Now we have an unfilled gap we're going into right now. Now, remember what I said. There is a little bit of a poor structure to the upside in the NASDAQ. So I would definitely favor right now a long in the NASDAQ over the ES. Just right now, we just took care of a supply zone right here. So I'm going to remove that from my chart right there. We're in another one, right? We're in an unfilled gap, right? So this is very bullish right now for the NASDAQ. Okay, very, very bullish. Gap right now, you're at the high of the session. Now you are close to 80 to 95%, 85% net long in the overnights. Okay, you do have a poor low from yesterday's session. And there's just a stack of demand. Okay, but you have to remember, if you just look at the QQQ, that 705 level, you swept it. I don't think shorts are really left here. I think everybody's buying this dip. Okay, I think it was an opportunity. You had the memory stocks pull back, and it's just like, what are you going to do? Micron is screaming and Intel screaming right now. Okay, so let's get into scenarios here. You have to start off with the bull side, bull case. Okay, what's the level we're looking at? The 297s. Okay, so we do have an unfilled gap here. Overnight session does not count as filling that gap. Okay, if we take out this is the supply zone. Okay, right here. Let's talk about it. Those levels are 29738s to 29819s. Okay, I would like to see that taken out. So if we gap and go take that out, okay, fine. Now, there's poorer structure up in here. Okay, if we get that pullback to 297s. Okay, month-to-date anchor VWAP, we're actually over it now. That month-to-date anchor VWAP is 29730. So we are actually, buyers are back in control this month in the NASDAQ. Crazy. Okay. Now, if you get a pullback to that 297 and it holds, you look for a little higher low. Now you're going to target. We're going to target the 30094s. Okay. Even though there's supply here, I know I saw some poor structure. Like right here, you can see that the profile's a little thinner. Okay. So below the 297s. Okay, there's a major demand here. You have the gap fill 295. So let's say we open and all of a sudden you're like, uh-oh, we lose the 297s, right? Come inside this huge demand zone and try to fill the gap at 295s. Okay, so 295s, that's the gap fill. Now, if you get support here, also have a high volume overnight VPOC right there. If you hold that, that's a long as well. Target overnight highs, 29782s, and see if you can go higher. I'm just going to show a bunch of longs here. It's really possible. Okay, you have an overlapping demand, and another key level here is the 294s. And this needs to be quick, these pullbacks. If this is quick, and the 294s is yesterday's most traded price, and you have a bunch of equal lows here. If you take that out, right, and you hold it, you go long 294. You take profit at 297 and see if you can get higher prices. Okay. This is just, like I said, very bullish right now what the Nasdaq's doing. Very bullish. Okay, remember SK Hynix is coming to our market tomorrow. Okay. Shorties. Now, we are in supply. We are above 297s, the most traded price of the month. Now, what I need to see. Maybe we go up like that, reject, come in, go under 297s, retest 297s, and you see, uh-oh, people are taking profits in the NASDAQ, okay, you have a big demand. That's why I'm saying I am not a fan of the short, but it's very possible. You get the 297, you target those 294s. I think that's the real test, those 294s. If you lose those 294s, okay, you're going to go to the 293s. And there's a bullish value gap there. Okay. There's so much stack demand in this NASDAQ that, yes, we can fall farther, but I just don't see it. I don't see it yet. Okay. I really don't. I really don't. This is probably the only thing I'm looking at right now that I'm like, all right, if I see tech coming out, that's probably the only short I'm interested in. And I'm not really interested in it. Not right now. Not what I'm seeing. And the market's going to be mixed again. So I think the NASDAQ is your better long. The ES is probably your better short for right now. Okay. All right, folks. That is it for me. Let me give you just my market outlook again, just so give overall outlook. Okay. The key level in the ES is our 75.45s. That is your most traded price of the month. Acceptance above it's bullish, acceptance below it's bearish. Okay. Remember, the other important level is the 75.25s. That's your most traded price of yesterday. You just want to hold that. A momentary blip below it's fine, but you don't want to find acceptance below that. Okay. NASDAQ, just talked about it. Your level is the 297. That's the most traded price of the month. Bullish above it, bearish below it. Now, this is more bullish than the ES. Okay. Because pullbacks are still in a great area. All right. Now, we're ready for a big move. You're pretty much an ultimate balance in both. And remember, I just think that the shorts are done in the NASDAQ. I really do. Okay. So, everybody, that is my analysis. Please smash the like button if you enjoyed that analysis. That would be much appreciated. Okay. Now, every morning I do this. Please join me, subscribe, set that alert, give you the market news, economic calendar, technical analysis, and I just gave you the long short trade scenarios in the NASDAQ and the ES futures. Okay. Now, if you want more in-depth coverage, you're going to join my Discord. That's Confluence Trading. Go to my YouTube homepage, click on the link, and sign up. What are you waiting for? Let me be your indicator. Now, we have our plans. Okay. I'm hoping NASDAQ's not too crazy because I would really like to get long the NASDAQ futures. Okay. Sometimes it doesn't line up with my risk because I can't risk it's so wild that sometimes my risk is like I can't risk adjust it as much as I can the ES. So we'll see. Obviously they trade correlated sometimes, but if tech is concentrated long, like you just want to be long, right? The tech, right? So that's it, everybody. Everybody have a great day. Remember, no trade's a trade. And if I don't see you in my Discord, I'll see everybody.